My name is Ashley Raue, and this is my final research presentation. This is my 6th year of teaching. The last 4 years, I have been a 5th grade general education teacher at South Tama. I teach math, literacy, science, and social studies in my classroom. The 2 previous years, I taught preschool at the elementary level. I've also had the experience of being a 5th grade teacher in an elementary setting as well as a middle school setting. The impacts of homework on a 5th grade math assessment. The problem: an increased number of students are not turning in math homelinks. Math homelinks go along with my district's curriculum and the Everyday Math series. Over the last 3 years, the 5th grade team has noticed a decrease in the number of homework assignments that have been turned in. This being said, we looked at the data and noticed a decrease in the students' scores. So after noticing this, I decided I wanted to conduct my research on the connection between homework and the summative assessments. This is important to me to know to make sure I'm giving my students enough experiences with the material that they are able to master the skill. Literature review. Research states that homework can improve assessment scores if given correctly. Carr and Cooper stated that homework is needed to give students extra practice, but needs to be presented in the correct manner. Teachers need to assign homework that has meaning, and not just because it's what has always been done. Snow, Schmidt, and Kaker conducted a study and found that as teachers, we need to make sure that we're providing homework that is meaningful to students, and they are motivated to complete the homework. To do this, teachers need to make sure they are making connections to outside of the school day, such as maybe when working with conversions, they're making connections to cooking with their parents. So maybe different cups, ounces, and so forth. Or maybe even splitting something with one of their siblings or another family member when you're working on fractions. As teachers, we need to make sure and realize that not every student has the same support at home, and therefore need to make sure that we're providing that support at school. Zhu completed a study in 2009 and determined that there are items that play a role in students' understanding their homework as well as completing it. Zhu and O'Sullivan, Chen, and Fish both agreed that homework did play a role in students achieving in the classroom. This gives them that extra experience and chances to practice before taking the summative assessment. Purpose. Homework has been an issue among educators from elementary to high school. Students struggled with completing homework assignments because of various reasons. When completing assigned homework over a new topic without explicit explanation, students struggle to answer correctly. By conducting this research, my results could help other practitioners in their classroom in deciding what homework they need to assign. I hypothesize that students who are given homework daily will increase their proficiency level on the district's math curriculum summative assessment. The participants. Participants are from South Tama County Middle School in Toledo, Iowa. 52% of the building qualifies for free and reduced lunch. Of the building, 37 students took part in the research project, all of which were 5th graders ranging from the ages 10 to 12 years old. The control group then consisted of 7 Caucasian, 5 Hispanic, and 5 Native American students. The experimental group consisted of 11 Caucasian, 7 Hispanic, and 2 Native American students. Reliability. It was conducted between 2 different classrooms. They were similar in the makeup of students, and the teachers in both classrooms had taught from the series from the first time. This was an upgrade addition to the same series we'd been teaching in the district. And we followed the expectations of the series. This included the way examples were given and the amount of instruction that was given on each problem and the number of practice problems the students were to complete before completing a formative assessment. Each teacher taught math the exact same hour every morning. In both rooms, math was set up with a whole group completed the mental math, and then the lessons were taught in small groups. The students rotate through the stations while they're waiting to meet with the teacher to learn and work on their lesson. At the stations, this is their chance to work on practice problems and even finish up their formative assessment. Materials. The materials that were needed by both the control and the experimental groups were the Everyday Math Series Journal. This is where the students were able to walk through lessons and practice their skills. Mental Math. Every day was a review of the previous day's skill or a skill they had learned in the past. And for experimental group, the Everyday Math Home Links was the chance for them to practice their skills at home. Procedure. This unit was taken from the Everyday Math series. It was a Unit 5 on fractions, and it took place in the spring of 2016. The unit ran for 3 weeks and had a formative assessment after each of the lessons. The purpose: to determine if homework is effective when it comes to 5th grade students taking a summative math assessment. Procedures. Makeup of the classroom. As I said before, the ethnic makeup of the classroom was very similar, with both having Native American, Hispanic, and Caucasian students. The control group and the experimental group both received instruction, which included practice mental math to start a class. Then the teacher read the math message, which is a short story problem that the students figure out individually, and then we come together as a class and talk about our answers and work through the problem. The teacher then followed up with the process on how to solve the problem after meeting in her group again. There was another problem that was solved. Then the participants had a practice page that they walked through and worked either in partners or as a small group. After all that, and the teacher felt that the students had mastered the content, then they were able to go ahead and take their formative assessment. The experimental group then received a home link, which was a chance for them to practice their skill again before taking the formative assessment. During this time, the teacher was observing the classroom to see which participants needed more practice and which ones had the skill mastered. A formative assessment was then assigned to ensure the participants grasped the concept. Data analysis. Homework completed at home independently with the data was labeled an H. Homework completed at school independently was labeled with an S. Homework completed at school with assistance was an A, and homework not completed had an X. This was all set up on a Google Doc in Google Sheets so that each teacher was able to see how the students were doing. So I collected the percentage of homework completed for each participant in the experimental group. Each assignment was given, and one of the 4 designations, as I'd stated before, was marked down on the spreadsheet. At the end of the 3-week instruction, a formative assessment was given to all participants. This summative assessment was broken into 3 parts to correspond with the 3 instructed skills of the unit: adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing fractions. These results were recorded then again on the spreadsheet for analysis. The results. The hypothesis was rejected. The purpose of the study was to determine the effects of homework of the 5th grade participants on a math summative assessment. The 3 parts of the summative assessment were broken down into or showed on the t-test. When looking at the data, tests score 1 had a p-value of 0.258. Test score 2 had a p-value of 0.011, and test score 3 had a 0.131. So none of the tests had a significant amount of difference from that of the experimental and the control group. Therefore, the hypothesis is rejected because there was not enough evidence to prove otherwise. Implications. Support at school. Students were provided with support at school if needed for the experimental group. The teacher was there in the mornings or even right before they were to turn it in their home link. Both groups were given a chance to practice the skill in different ways. The experimental group was given an extra practice by using the home link. Limitations. Length of the unit. When given a chance to conduct the experiment again, the researcher would take in consideration the limitations noted. So the length of the unit. If I could do this again, I would do it over maybe 3 or 4 units to see if it really made a difference over a long period of time and using different content within math. The second one is the number of students in special education and English language learner program. The amount of special education in the control program was 6, and the number of special education students in the experimental was only 1. This could have had an effect on the results as well because of the accommodations that they are required as special education students. The same with the number of students in the ELL program. Some of these students had special circumstances where they might get the test read to them. Support at home. If a student does not have support at home, then they are less likely to complete the homework independently. And completed home links turned in. There was a number of the completed home links that were completed, that were turned in, that were done at home. Recommendations for future research. Test over several units. As I stated before, I would take a longer time period to go over the material and really study each unit and how the study links are getting done. Meaningful homework. Making sure that I make a connection to the students and their everyday lives so they see the meaning behind the homework and understand why they need to make sure that they practice those skills and master those skills. Conclusion. Homework needs to be presented to students in a way that they will understand. Vocabulary needs to be presented and repeated and placed around the room so that the students understand it and that they are able to comprehend what it means. Students need support. They need support if they don't understand things, especially if they don't have the support at home. Maybe mom and dad work long hours or they don't understand. We have some that didn't graduate from high school, so they're not understanding the concept as well. They're learning along with the students. So we need to make sure that we help those students in providing them that support. And homework is an important way to practice the skills that the students have learned. And there are my references. Thanks for watching.